Hi.
Hi.
I'm trying to prop up my phone here. How are you?
Good. You look like an angel, like the light
Oh, the
glowing
light
behind
behind me.
you. I was just like rambling, being like, Claudia's a lawyer. She's a business lawyer. She's an amazing person.
Thank you for that wonderful intro.
Yes. Well, thanks for taking the time. I know you have a busy, busy schedule. First, I have to ask, are you drinking? You got your coffee? Oh, yes.
I
Dunkin'
made
Donuts.
sure. Dunkin'
Amazing.
Donuts.
I
Yes.
love always been a Dunkin' person and not a Starbucks person.
It's so funny you say that because, I try to post content obviously on my page and keep it like interactive, not boring law stuff. And this morning on my way here, I was thinking there's like a never ending debate at my house about whether Dunkin' Donuts is better than Starbucks. And like, Starbucks has some pretty cool, unique coffee if you're like very particular. But for
Yeah,
iced coffee, like, why do you even go to Starbucks? Like,
I
Dunkin's so
know.
great.
And it's like twice the price too.
Yes, literally.
I
So
was like
yeah,
I was like, I know she'll have her coffee. I know you. I was like,
here
she'll
I
definitely
am.
have it.
This is what gets me going every morning. If I don't have this, forget it. Like,
Yes. I'm on my second cup already, so. Anyway, let's get to it. So, your situation is a little bit different from the other people that I've been interviewing, just in that I told everyone you are a lawyer. However, you work for a firm, but I still see you as an entrepreneur because you have to hustle to get clients and you're always on the go and you pretty much make your own schedule. And so, anyway, tell me a little bit about your journey and how you got to where you are and yeah, just kind of how your business relates to entrepreneurship.
so, like you said, I work for a firm, but I kind of have, a little bit of an entrepreneurial spirit when it comes to the position that I have at the firm. I landed here by grace. It was actually, I was on the market looking for a job, and somebody that I knew one of the partners here and knew that they were hiring. So
Mm-hmm.
I sent in my resume, and the rest is history. The firm that I was at before, while I was in law school, was actually a firm where I used to help the partners basically run the firm, do a lot of the day-to-day thing. So I learned
Mm-hmm.
a lot about, marketing and running a firm and the different things that you need to do, to be successful, I guess, in the field. And so I kind of had that entrepreneurial spirit from my experience there, and I had a lot of the background of what it takes. And so they were actually looking for somebody that would do that. There's kind of, when you go into law, there's two tracks, let's say. There's a track where you're kind of just taking the work from the firm and working on behalf of the partners. And then there's the track that I'm on, which is where you build your own practice within the firm. And so then that's kind of what I'm doing. That's why you see me out there, trying to put myself out there, tell people what I do, get clients, help people, because I think one of the things that has really helped me is bringing education to the table. And I think that's what sets me apart from a lot of the people in, my space.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes lawyers don't have time for that. I get it. We're busy. We don't necessarily build the education that we give our clients. But I think that when you have an educated client, it makes, and sorry, I paused myself.
That's okay.
So it makes my job easier. And then aside from making my job easier, it obviously helps my client understand the process. Even sometimes going
Mm-hmm.
through law school, you learn about all these things that happen outside of law school when you turn into a lawyer, and then you turn into a lawyer and you still don't know what's going on half the time. So imagine, somebody with no background, that it's difficult for them to understand. And so I really try to capitalize on that. And I try to set myself apart by taking the time to educate my clients so that they're informed and they know what's going on. And so then even if they're not working with me or if they've moved on from that case that I represented them in, that they still understand the process. And if they
Mm-hmm.
ever come across it again, that they're prepared.
That's awesome. And I think that also shows your value because a lot of lawyers are just like, oh, it's too complicated to explain it to them. Let's just move forward. Like, I'll do what I have to do and get it done. But you taking the time to explain it to them gives them value. It makes them trust you more, I'm sure. And it also shows that you know what you're doing. So I definitely agree with you that the educated route is a way to go. And it probably, you've explained it so many times, it probably doesn't take that much longer to explain it anyway. Depending on the case, I'm sure, but so that's
Definitely.
great. Why don't you explain, well, how long have you been a lawyer and kind of the areas that your firm or that you work with?
So I have been a lawyer now for 2 years. But I have been doing legal work for more than 7 years. I started off when I was in college. At the end of college, I worked for a in-house firm that the University of Florida had. And then from there, I went to law school. While I was in law school, I worked for a firm that was here local to Miami. And then after that, once I graduated law school, I started here. I've been here ever since. And I practice in the areas of business law, like you said. My firm also does family law and real estate. And then our smaller practice is estate planning. And now we've even been helping some of our clients prepare for bankruptcy filings. You know, the situation has kind of taken a turn for some of our clients, unfortunately, one that maybe they weren't expecting. But, you know, that's how we've been able to continue to provide value. We have a relationship with these clients. We like to say that we don't have necessarily clients, but I mean, not cases, but clients. And so then we try to service our clients in the different areas of the law that they need. So we have brought on people who are very well versed in bankruptcy to be able to bring that on as a new practice area now, starting with this whole COVID crisis.
Oh, good. Well, that was my next question. So how has COVID affected your business? How have you guys been busy? I mean, I think I know the question because I've chatted with you, but so everyone knows, how has it been going?
So Christine knows things have been crazier than usual around here,
Yes.
Which is a very good thing. We're very blessed. We feel very fortunate to be in that position given the situation. Our world was rocked a little bit to begin with, just like everybody else's. Everybody says the courts are closed, and yes, the courts are closed. You cannot go to the courthouse back there. But we're doing everything on Zoom. We have lawyers, court reporters, notaries, witnesses, everybody appearing on Zoom. It was a little bit of a circus to begin with. There was a learning curve for us, the same way there was a learning curve for everybody else, but we've kind of gotten it under control for the most part now, and things are happening a little bit more smoothly than they were at first. It's great because, for example, my clients that do uncontested divorces, last week we found out that you don't even have to go to a hearing. So usually one of the parties has to attend a hearing at the end to confirm their agreement, whatever the case may be. And we thought they were going to have to attend this hearing via Zoom, at least one of the parties. And I got 2 orders today. 2 of my clients got divorced, never talked to a judge, never stepped in the courthouse. We just had to do a couple of extra filings. So there have been some good consequences from COVID as well. You know, some people hate that part of the process. You know, it's kind of like the last little bucket of water that this is really happening. And they've been able to avoid that. So it's been great for some people. But generally, I mean, even though I'm a millennial, I hate the whole Zoom thing, to be honest with you. I can do it, but I hate that it's all we do now. So that's been a little bit of an adjustment for me personally. At first, we did not come into the office. Everything was very remote. But now as things have started to open up more, law firms have always been essential from the beginning in Miami-Dade County. So we've been in and out as needed.
So there's actually, going back to what you said, there's actually like trials and stuff on Zoom. Oh my gosh.
Crazy. Crazy. I have to be honest with you. When it first started, they would only do very simple hearings, like, you know, motion calendar and things like that, which are very short, brief, direct arguments. But, you know, as this has been extended longer and longer, the courts haven't had a choice but to accommodate the more complex part, I guess, of the legal arguments and the hearings and the trials, because we can't be stagnant forever, right? And who knows how long this is going to last for. I mean, there's talks of no courthouses for a little bit. So we've all adjusted the same way. But yes, the more complex hearings are definitely a bigger, and they're a bigger challenge. And, you know, we kind of just have to roll with the punches the same way that everybody else does. But it's challenging.
Yeah. So I feel like you're a good person to ask this question to. So actually, I don't think I told you, but I finished writing my book, Blondie Without Borders. So I've been able to do that during quarantine. I'm getting it edited, trying to figure out kind of next steps in the whole process. But the book is about boundaries and my life, what it was like without any. And so boundaries, I feel like are a big thing with lawyers. And so I'm curious how you manage your day-to-day with boundaries, using them, and like scheduling office time, personal time, Time for your boyfriend. How does all that work?
That is my biggest flaw. I have to be honest. That's like
At
the
least you're
one
honest.
part of this I'm still trying to figure out.
It's hard.
It's hard, right? So you try to be there all the time whenever you can for all of your clients. And obviously when you have a number of clients with different issues happening at the same time, it's hard to balance that. It's something I have not mastered. My boyfriend thinks I don't know how to do it at all. But when I try to do, which is what I told the client today that texted me early in the morning, and he's like, you always reply. I'm like, yes, I try to. So he's like, how do you do it? And I'm like, I try to work as late as I have to throughout the week so that I don't have to work on the weekends. And I try to use that time kind of to disconnect. But
that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like my one boundary, like don't mess with my weekend. But sometimes there's emergencies. There was one this weekend. I worked both days. And that's just, you know, kind of like the nature of the field. But, you know, that's kind of a priority. And I feel like that's part of what we decide to take on as attorneys. You know, when you decide to take on a case, you kind of know, you know, if it's going to be a little bit of a more tumultuous matter or if it's going to be straightforward, if it's going to be a 9 to 5 sort of thing. And, you know, when you decide to take on the representation of a client, I think that's one of the things that you decide to take on as well. And I live with my decisions, so I'm trying. I'm getting better at it, but, you know, it's still a work in progress. I would say that's one of the things I still have to work on the most.
Yeah. Well, just as you know, it's okay to say no and not feel guilty about it. I focus on the fact that, like, I think especially as women and how we're caretakers and we want to help others and please others, and we put ourselves last a lot of the time. And so I think it's just good to remember, like, it's okay to say no. It's okay to set times that we work and lots of different things. But okay, well, let's see what else.
Let me just move.
Maybe we could go through, since this is for entrepreneurs,
okay,
some of the processes that you and your firm go through to help out businesses, just to get more specific.
Sure. Let me just accommodate this again. So we do a lot of things when it comes to that. One of the things that we do is business formation. So we have clients that come to us with an idea, and sometimes it's not very like clear cut. Sometimes it's more creative things. When you begin a brand, there's a lot of things that you have to consider before you choose a name. If there's somebody that already has that name, whether there's, you know, IP or intellectual property implications to the name that you chose. I had a client that consulted with me at the end of last year who had a great idea for his business, but unfortunately the name that he had chosen kind of interfered with the name of a big company. And I was like, this could be a situation. So we kind of consult with the client before they get started and guide them on the right path to begin. You know, sometimes they need us to hold their hand a little bit more. Other times they know exactly what they want, and it's just kind of us assessing whether they get the green light or not. But we basically can file for the company, whether it's a Florida company or if they, now it's very popular to do Delaware corporations. So we hire someone in Delaware to file that for them. And we, whether there's—
Why Delaware? Taxes?
Anonymity, supposedly anonymity.
Oh, okay.
You know, when you look up the Sunbiz, we can see whoever owns any company, who the registered agent is. There's some of that information that's not public in Delaware, and so then that's why there's a little bit of a preference for filings in Delaware. And there's other benefits to it, but so that's become popular. And so then we basically work with local counsel or registered agents over there to get that filed. But, you know, we do foundational documents. So when you start a corporation, if you start it by yourself, it's usually not a big deal. But if you start it with somebody else, you should have a contract in place that says what your responsibilities are, what mine are, you know, how this is going to go moving forward. And everybody kind of has a guide of where, you know, we plan to take this and who has the responsibility for what. And that's something that should definitely be in writing between partners. So we draft those agreements, and basically anything that a corporation would need, we try to provide. So one of the things that my boss, who's been doing this for more than 25 years now, has always done is he has served as outside counsel for his corporate clients, meaning we're here, we know your business, we know you, we know how you work. If you don't need us, we're here. But if you need us, you know, we already know you. We already know what you do. We already know how you set up your business. We already know your goals, you know, and so we work with you as things come up. whether that be selling a portion of the business, whether it be obtaining financing, whether it be that you're looking to add a new partner, whatever the case may be, we basically help draft those documents. We can review commercial leases, and there's different aspects of being a business owner that require or that could use legal counsel. Some people do it without it, but some of our clients do prefer to have us look at those agreements before they sign them or negotiate them on their behalf. And so those are the things that we provide. We draft contracts, we review contracts, and so sometimes if they're hiring employees and there's certain contracts that need to be drafted, or if they're doing an event and the venue requires certain documentation, we kind of handle that on their behalf, depending on what their needs are or could be.
Okay. Very good. Thank you for that synopsis. What is your favorite part about what you do?
I have to be honest, I really like it when I start a business with a client, or a client comes to me with an idea and then they see it turn into something, and then from there I see them return to me for something else, because obviously that means that they've been able to continue with that sort of dream that everybody has when they start a business, or they have hopes for their business. And so when they come back to me because they're hiring a client, or because they're finally getting a space, or because they're taking on financing to be able to fulfill orders, whatever the case may be, I always think that that's so fulfilling, because I'm able to help them create these little babies. And as us entrepreneurs, I feel like we created something, have like a deep attachment to it, and we're so proud of it, and we take care of it and we nurture it. And it's a lot of people work hard. It's not that entrepreneurs are the only ones that work hard, but sometimes when it's kind of you, and entrepreneurship has its ups and downs, and there's good days and there's bad days, and there's trial and error. And there's no guide to being an entrepreneur, like nobody tells you, here's the handbook, go start your business. And so I think that it's very rewarding for them to be able to see that progress, right, of forward momentum, whatever that may be for the individual business owners. And so I always think that that is so exciting, because I can see how that is so fulfilling in my own experience. And so then I know that, that's the way that they're feeling, and that they're proud of themselves and proud of what they've accomplished, and that they haven't given up, right? Because, also that there's a lot of times where you want to give up and it's hard, and you don't have anybody to ask questions to sometimes. That part I do think is very, very rewarding for me to get to see.
That's awesome. You feel like you're really helping people.
Right, exactly.
What would be one piece of advice that you give or would give to someone who's just starting out a business?
So there's a lot of stuff on like Instagram and Pinterest that's very motivational about like being an entrepreneur and how great it is. And it is great, don't get me wrong, but like you are the end all be all a lot of times when you start.
For sure.
And the whole thing about making your own schedule is true to a degree, because you make your own schedule, but you only make your own schedule to the degree that there's work to do. So it's not like I'm going to work till 5, kind of my problem. I'm going to work till 5 because at 5 o'clock I'm just going to log off. But sometimes you have to work till 10. And sometimes like it's 10 o'clock, you had dinner, and now you got to sign back on because there's more work to be done. So you don't have the ability to delegate, and you kind of have to be prepared that at least initially you have to do a lot of the work, and that it's not as fun and as glamorous as it can look sometimes. But I think once you get over that, and once you are able to kind of like get a little bit more established, or, finally find your footing, then yes, those benefits come where you say, yeah, I'm not going to take this client, or, this is not my ideal client. I know that once you start off, you're kind of like, I'll take anything that comes my way. Yeah. But, as you start growing, you get to see that shift, right? And I think that that's part of, the reward as well. And I think that you just have to be ready to work really hard, and figure a lot of things out fast. But once you get past that little bump, I think it's definitely worth it.
Absolutely. Or they can hire a coach like me and help them walk them through it.
Or that. She can tell you the mistakes she made so that you have to make them too.
Exactly. I'll save
and
you time and pain.
Yes, exactly. They can be time consuming. And,
yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. What do you think is the biggest lesson you've learned since kind of coming into your own? And
So last night, if you guys saw my story, some people were like, why did you post that? But whatever. I was watching
your dog's birthday?
Your
dog's birthday? Oh.
I was watching a documentary last night and I posted my first story where I was talking. And
Oh.
people were like, oh my gosh, you're talking on Instagram. I'm like, whatever, it was time. So I was watching a documentary, and long story short, it was Michelle Obama's documentary, and somebody had told her she was never going to make it to Princeton, and she made it to Princeton.
Yep.
And so then I had a history teacher that once told me I was basically going to be no one. And I think that sometimes, you let those things get to you internally, like at least a little bit. I think whoever says it doesn't get to them doesn't admit it, because my sister was laughing at me. She's like, 11 years later, it still bothers you. I'm like, yes, it does. It does bother me. You know what? And so many people have replied to that story that I can't even tell you. It has to be the most replied story that I've ever posted on Instagram.
It's because you were vulnerable and sharing about yourself.
Yes, but also because I feel like so many people can identify with the fact that at some point somebody told them, like, either don't do this, or you can't do this, or that's not a
You're not good enough. Yeah.
Yes, and you kind of just have to trust yourself, right? So I think we have like a very strong intuition a lot of times when we're going to do something, whether we like are willing to risk it or not. And I think that like helps us decide whether or not we should do something. But I think at the end of the day, you have to trust yourself, right? You've gotten this far. Whatever the case may be, whatever the factors were, whatever you believe in, you got here, right? And if you have this idea and you're willing to put in the work and you're willing to not give up and get through the hard times, there's going to be hard times. I think that is worth its weight in gold. Like somebody that's persistent, that doesn't give up, that like is just willing to fail and try again and fail and try again. And I think that's like the biggest lesson that I've learned. Nobody that you're looking at started off like, I'm going to create this empire in 2 days, and they were just super successful overnight, and it was just all rainbows and butterflies. And if that's what they told you, I would love to meet them, because I would like to know
how that happened.
Yeah, right. I mean, I would love to share that with my clients, because that's like apparently,
I love that.
It doesn't happen like that, and you have to be prepared to fail, but persevere, right? That's what it is. And I think that that's like the biggest lesson that I've learned, is to trust yourself. You know what you're capable of, the work you can or you can't do. And for me, comments like that, which was part of what I said in my story, that was a motivation for me. Whenever somebody tells me you cannot do that, oh man, that's it. Like, let's go. Game on.
Yes.
Now I'm going to prove to you that I can't do what you thought I could not do.
Yeah.
And so then that's something that I would recommend to anybody that's maybe in a situation like that, or maybe doesn't have the support that it would be ideal for them to begin on their journey, or whatever the case may be. Support is great. It's very necessary. I acknowledge that. I've had a lot of support my entire life, and I'm so grateful for that. But aside from that, the naysayers are always there. There's always people that are not going to believe in you, that think that you're whatever, not capable. Good for you. Thank you for your opinion. Be able to go from there, and don't let that be what defines you.
Yeah. You just reminded me quickly. I used to be teased too, like in high school. Like I used to like think I was stupid. It's, when you hear it, people tease you all the time. And my friends were super smart also, which like made me feel stupid, even though I was probably like average, always like really hardworking. Like I thought I was stupid. And they were always teasing me like that I was going to go to Harvard on the Hill, which was AKA the community college down the street from my high school. And like, little did they know, I just got a master's from Harvard 2 years ago, So it's really all like, you take it, you try to not take it personal, and you use it as ammunition to like fight back and keep going forward.
Yep. I agree. And I think that's the best way to, to use those comments, because what else are you going to do? I mean,
right. You can only sit and sulk for so long, right?
Exactly, right. So now it's time to move on. So let's go, like that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, amazing. We're almost out of time. Anything that you want to share that we haven't covered?
Kind of just that, specifically for the entrepreneurs, when you have an idea and, you're set on it and you really believe in yourself and you're willing to put in the work. I mean, that's as far as you need. That's it.
You only go as far as you believe in yourself.
Yes.
So
yes, go for it. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? Okay, you try it. You learn a ton throughout the entire process.
And you pivot.
Even if you, shift, pivot, change your idea that you start off with, which will probably happen too as you actually execute your idea. At the end of the day, you have to know that you have to believe in yourself, that you can do it, and that everybody started in the same place that you're starting to. Very little people had it handed to them. Very little people just, woke up one day millionaires or whatever the case may be. So build it. It's about consistency. It's about getting up every day, even the days you don't want to, and thinking, I'm doing this for myself, and so I have to do it because I'm the only person that's going to do it. And I think that the reward at the end is just so worth it, that it's worth the struggle, even though sometimes the struggle can be pretty tough.
No, I totally agree. And thank you for those words and the encouragement. My last question before we go is, I know we talked about our coffees, but what is your favorite coffee? What kind?
Oh man. So I don't usually get this every single day because it's terrible, but when I do get coffee, I get a medium or large caramel iced coffee, extra cream, extra sugar.
Oh.
So my boyfriend says it's dessert, it's not coffee, but when I do get it, I'm just going to go and splurge when I get what I want. But I try to stay away from it because it's really bad. But I mean, I'll have that coffee and like, it'll have me on fire the whole day. So usually Monday's a good day to like get the weekend stuff out of the way.
Yeah.
But what about you?
I like a good cappuccino. I like the pretty designs, and I take the photos for my Instagram. So.
I don't blame you.
But I love trying coffees from all, when I go to a new country, that's the first thing. I'm like, where's the coffee shop? So.
So cute. Yeah, no, I usually, whenever I go somewhere that there's something Instagram worthy too, I'm like, let me get that just so I can post it.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. I know you're so busy, and if anyone needs any business advice, go see Claudia, and yeah, we'll chat soon. Have a great day.
Thanks, Christine. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.